Who of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed in attaining all in that which is your need? To be heard by the real answerer of all deeds, the true hero of all whom pleads. Who of you really want to bow down to the true King of Kings commanding the crown? To worship the one that ever rules alone, commanding everything of creation from the seat of its throne.
Good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are, whatever time you're watching us. Welcome to an A.H.A.D moment, the calm before the storm. I'm your host, Fakir Abdulaziz, and with me is my esteemed guest. I'll start with our newer compadre, Brother Adam Hanif Salim. And right here next to me certainly is Lord Holy Apostle Dean, the messenger prophet of the Lord A.H.A.D of this day and this time for the world. Off camera we have our esteemed guest, Holy Queen Mother Rabia Salim. May A.H.A.D's peace and other blessings be within and about your presences, all of you. As well as to our studio audience that is joining with us today, may A.H.A.D's peace and other blessings be within and about your presence. And as they respond, we'd like to call out to you and the television audience in the areas of New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, that same greeting. Lord Holy Apostle Dean, it's always a pleasure sitting here getting that enlightenment from you, Holy Queen Mother, as well.
Brother. Praise be to A.H.A.D.
Yes, certainly praise be to A.H.A.D. And in that, I'm going to open up the show in accounting for the, if I may just phrase, from the first chapter of the first component of the Divine Book of Recitation, the Lord's Holy Clarifier of this new day of coming in. In it, it recites, for those of us, or believers, to honor the words of truth that still remain open in the revealed Arabic Holy Quran, but to eschew all that was, is, and will be taken out and desecrated by the hands and tongues of men and jinn mixed with falsehood. That, in that it represents, Lord Holy Apostle, that is the first component from the new covenant, a new book, since the Quran, and prior to that, the Torah and other books, the Gospels and other books. Right. It's very, very heavy in my mind, in that it does, in fact, confirm the Quran. Not only as having been a book that's sent down to the people of Muhammad, or the people that was in the region of Muhammad some almost 1,500 years ago now, but we're talking about a book that was given to actually the whole world to consider. And I say this because that command to honor the words of truth is sort of a command to protect the Quran, the essence of it, the truth that is of it. You know, from the interlopers who have, from time to time and throughout, have always come down when the words of truth came down in the form of a book to the people. Those interlopers, the scientists and the theologians and all the scholars would come in and put their hands to the book as commanded against in the Quran. Put their hands and start changing the book, adding their words, adding their ideas, and their, many times in their translations, as you know, and their interpretations. Right. And I guess we just wanted to open up the panel with that. But if I can just ask a question, with no, please, if you may just.
No. You doing pretty good.
Because I didn't want to go too far in the show, because I was hoping I didn't want maybe get more before I ask the question. But here we are, and we've given to our television audience and the world that you are in fact now the law-bearing messenger prophet of this day. Right. To let the world know that the Lord A.H.A.D, the Lord El, who's come in many names and phrases throughout times, is present today to speak to the world of mankind in general.
Right. Go ahead.
We're a specific people, the Afro-American people who are related to you in some form or extension of others, those closer than others. How is it that, is it not a presumptuous thing to think that we, the people who are given the Divine Book of Recitation, who's the first ones to see it, are given the call, or those related to us given the call to protect the Quran, the book that belongs supposedly to the Arabs, or the Arabs think that they belong, the descendants of Muhammad?
Okay. First of all, the Holy Quran doesn't belong to the Arabs. Let's strike that. Let's make that known. The Holy Quran of Allah, the Holy Quran of Muhammad, is a book that Allah invested in Muhammad through Gabriel in itself. And it has never belonged to anyone. Muhammad himself was possessed by the possessor of the Holy Quran. The Holy Quran and Muhammad was possessed together by the essence and the power and the circle of the divine threefold union that Muhammad was in with Gabriel and Allah. So the Holy Quran has never been owned by anyone other than Allah. That's number one. Number two is no man, angel, devil, demon, anything has a right to change any meaning that has been sent down in the Holy Scripture. Now, why did I say meaning and not words? Because words can be changed to affect the same meaning. It's not the words that we're concerned about, it's the meaning that we're concerned about. And when they desecrate or turn it inside out or disgrace it or change Allah's words of wisdom, change the meaning, that's when they violate Allah. See, I might tell you in layman's term, brother, go and urinate. Go ahead, you're excused to go urinate. And I turned to my baby and said, go pee-pee. You go pee-pee. I've changed the words, but I haven't changed the meaning. You understand? Now, some people might say, why would he use that, the urinate? That's what A.H.A.D gave me to use. Okay? We have so many self-righteous people who think that they know how the prophet's supposed to be, how he's supposed to speak, sound, and what he's supposed to mean in his words. And most people always believe that the prophet's supposed to be like them. But Allah says, I will send the prophet down, I will raise the prophet up in the manner that I desire, speaking the language of the people that I send them to. Now when Allah says speaking the language, Allah wasn't saying speaking the words so much so as it was talking about speaking the meaning. If I say, how are you today? In your language, you may answer me, I'm doing fine. And I turn to someone of another language and culture and say, how are you today? I might be insulting them. What do you mean, how am I? I am this, that, or the other. How dare you insult me? You see how I am. I'm meant to be courteous. But to this other person, he or she may feel as though I'm meant to be discourteous. So it's the meaning that really counts. You see, and what men have done is that they've first changed the meaning of what Allah was saying through Muhammad. In Arabic, they've changed the meaning. In their translations, they've changed the meaning. How do they change the meaning in Arabic? They try to say that these Arabic words don't mean what they mean. They mean something else. They was intended to produce or to guide you to something else. So they changed the meaning in Arabic. Then they turn around and change the translation, the words, in other languages. Now they have gone so far. What people who people of evil, the wicked people will do is as long as you allow them, they will go further and further and further into their wickedness. Now they've gone so far to make sense, perfect sense, of what Allah said in the new divine book of recitation, the new holy book of the Lord El, the book of the seventh seal. They went and added books and mixed books and words and everything else into the mix of the covers of the books they call the Noble Quran or some other kind of Quran, which this is not the Holy Quran anymore. And people need to understand, these Muslims who turn to that so-called Noble Quran, nobility and holiness and wholesomeness and the whole thing does not mean the same thing at all. Not in the least. Noble and holy does not mean the same thing at all. Now, them scholars call themselves noblemen.
It's true.
And the politicians, the kings, the reverends, priests call themselves noblemen, saying that they are noble, they are raised high. But holy, completeness, perfectness, the perfect, that's what holy is. That's El alone. So when you have a holy prophet, what you're saying is you have a complete prophet, one that's El's prophet. And what's holy in the prophet? El alone is holy in the prophet. Who gives the holy prophecy? El alone gives the holy prophecy. And it makes its messengers and prophets be tools of its use to deliver its words to mankind, and angels as well, to deliver the word.
Lord, when Lord El calls us to protect the Quran, as the people of Muhammad have been told to protect the Quran, commissioned to protect the Quran, what then would be the manners by which we might do so if there are many of us that aren't supposed scholars?
Here's the whole deal. Was you trying to say something?
Okay.
A.H.A.D gives us, in the name of Allah, since we've known it in the name of Allah and our men in Christ and what have you, it has given us laws and orders to follow. It has told us to praise it and to beg it and to remember it, to worship in our worship of it. In other words, in our fighting to be of it, because that's what the worship is the warship. To fight to be of it. Now, it has said through its messengers all along that it don't need anything from any of its creation. It is independent. Alone, independent, pure power, infinite and eternal, almighty, all over the place, ubiquitous, being at all places at all times, knowing all things, being involved in all things individually and at one. It is impossible for anything else to be it. It's impossible for anything else to absolutely know it. It is impossible for anything to get outside of it, to contain it, to judge it, to compel it, to master it. So it is the impossible one. Now, it gives us all these things in giving us for our lives as a favor and as a mercy, to give us life and to tell us this is how you live. This is the chosen religion that I've chosen for you. This is the chosen path of the way to me. The way that I've given you. I don't need you, but I'm giving this to you as a sign of life, a way of life, something for you. And I give you my wisdom, my divine guidance, my highest guidance. That's what divine guidance is. That's what wisdom is, true wisdom. It's guidance from the holy. I give this to you as a boon to you, as a blessing to you, as a mercy to you. It is best and right and perfect that you follow what I say. Strictly to the letter. Add nothing to my words, change nothing about my books. Because it is what I send down is perfect for whatever situation I send it down for. That's why it says, do not make a distinction between his messengers. The messenger, prophet Elijah Muhammad should not have a distinction made between him and the prophet Muhammad of Arabia, Muhammad ibn Abdullah. There shouldn't be a distinction when it comes to them being holy of Allah, complete of Allah. Why? Because both of them were completely dependent upon Allah for everything that they were and did, and both of them were forced, compelled by Allah in being guided to do what it wanted them to do, to go to whom it wanted them to go to, among the people it chose for them to go speak to, and to take its message that it gave for the particular people. Therefore, with both of them doing their job wholly, perfectly, completely unto Allah, it don't matter if one had to give elementary teachings and one, the higher learning of teachings. Both of them were the same. Students, subjects, servants, slaves, signs, tools of use for Allah, equally dependent upon it, because neither made up his own thing to do. Therefore, you can't charge either of them for what they do, to say this one was good, this one was bad, this one was high, this one was low. I either say you don't judge my messengers because you don't have the authority. You can't judge them. You see? Therefore, you don't make no distinction between one who would be like Elijah. Moses was like Elijah, sent to a specific people. They don't want to point that out. Where Muhammad was more like Jesus. Even though John was more like Elijah and Moses, where he was sent to the Jews in Jerusalem, Jesus was sent out to find the lost sheep, and along the way, being the Messiah, to speak to the people of the land. Not to hold back his words from any people. So, but they equally were messengers of El, compelled by El to give El's message.
You didn't answer the question.
What was the question? I did answer that question, but I gave a...
You didn't.
I know I answered it.
He said, how do we uphold the Quran
I told him.
outside of the scholars?
He didn't say that.
Well,
He mentioned the scholars.
by the fact that we're not, I just proposed by the fact that we proposed that we weren't capable of doing that technically, but I believe when the messenger said, I believe when you said
your question.
when you said when you're wholeheartedly following the word of A.H.A.D and the commands to
You
the
heard
letter.
another part of his question, but I answered that question.
Yeah.
That's a totally different question what you just posed.
By praising it and by
To the
thanking
letter. To the
To the
letter.
letter.
and by
Right.
holding and not discerning
I
from
answered
others,
that question. How do you do it?
And one of the things you have.
What a part of that answer was that A.H.A.D do not need us to do these things. I
Right.
want to make that clear. A.H.A.D don't need our prayers. It don't need our mosque. It don't need our billions of people bowing down. It don't need earth. It don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
It wanted it. It desired to create us. We are of its desire. We are thought forms of its mind. And we are given life, time, space, motion, in our movement, vibration, breath, essence, and materialized being of its thought, of its matter of thought. And we call that real, but the true knowers, the true lambs of Allah, know that we are illusions to the real. And the stuff that it's made of, we don't know. We can't even fathom that. All we know is what it does in its thought form that we call essence of life, hue. You know?
Yeah.
Where all things come from.
Holy Apostle, I've been in different environments and different situations where different Muslim brothers, they were talking about different situations in Islam and ways to be. A lot of times they refer to, like a lot of people are following, they want to be like the way Muhammad was, and not really so much of what his teachings were through the Quran, but his way of dressing, his way of being. And instead of like referring to the Quran about these issues, they refer to hadiths like a lot. I've been in several different situations, different places, and a lot of people are just referring to these hadiths instead of going back to the Quran. So what can we do to, like, in that way, to preserve the Quran?
Okay, let me give you a twist before I tell you about the preserving of this Quran. No, first let me just say this. To preserve the Quran is we need our people. We need as many people who believe in Allah and the Holy Quran to gather the printed Holy Qurans before the jinn caused these people in Pakistan, Arabia, and all these other places that produce these Qurans, before they change them up and destroy the authentic Qurans. See, some people think the Quran gonna be around forever. Books go out of print. And if the rulers all over the world agree, don't print no more and don't put no more, but let's put this hogwash stuff into the books and give that to them as the Quran, then it's going to become lost. What they gave to Imhotep, what they gave to Akhenaten, what they gave to Enoch, and many others. Even what they gave to the Buddha. Much of that stuff is lost. They go around trying to understand, trying to translate what the Mayans have written on the cave walls and the Egyptians and the pyramids and different things. What the Native Americans, they find that they writings in caves. They try to interpret and reinterpret it because it's a lost art. But see, it's not lost from Allah, because just like Allah came and gave to me its words of the Holy Quran, translated them inside me, did something that the multitudes of the Muslims said the Arabs said could not be done. You can't translate the Holy Quran into English because, you know, it's divine languages, this is that, is so different, so perfect. Lies, lies, lies. If you have faith and trust and you beg Allah, faith and trust in Allah, and you believe and you give yourself up to it wholly, it will not let you be led astray in its work. It will give you the meaning of the Holy Quran. I don't care if you don't know Arabic. They say you need hadith to learn how to pray. Did Muhammad have hadith to learn how to pray like Abraham? No, he did not. See, I myself was shown by the angels when I was 15, 16 years old, and when I had a near-death experience when I left this world, I was shown how they pray before I ever seen a Muslim on earth pray. And when I came into the Orthodox Islam, away from the Nation of Islam, and I seen them pray, I said, that's the way I seen the angels pray. They could have told me to pray like this. They could have advised me, but I was showed. And then when the time came right, some years later, I revisited that experience, and I said, this is right. This is what I was showed. I didn't have no hadith. A.H.A.D don't need anything it sends down to earth to communicate its message to you. You understand? Now, did I answer that first part?
Yes.
Okay. There was something I wanted to really point out and it has it's left me.
Mother, you had to. I'm sorry. Were you going to ask a question?
No, I was going to ask a question. I was just listen. I got caught up into what he was saying, but I was listening to what the brother was saying about them following the outer form of Prophet
Yes.
Muhammad.
Okay. Thank you. I'm back now.
Okay.
If I tell you, well, I want to be like Abraham Lincoln. Now, we all know how Abraham Lincoln was, right? We all know how he dressed, right? We all know his mannerisms, right?
No.
No, we don't. How do you know?
Yeah.
See, you said yes,
I was
and some people out there in the audience said
I
yes.
was
thinking about the
I was
way he
answering
looked,
the
like the
dress,
beard and
but
the
The way he
that's only
looked,
certain
the way he
pictures.
looked, you mean the way they depict him, the way they showed in pictures that this was him. We don't know if that was really him. The way the jinn do deceive so much, we don't know how he was because we didn't relate. I'm here on earth today, and people say, well, I want to be like Dean. If they never met me, they don't know how I am. You found that out by coming into this studio and coming into this circle, getting to meet me after you'd heard about me and said, whoa, he ain't like this, that, or the other. He's like this, that, or the other. So how in the world can they be like Prophet Muhammad if they didn't walk with Prophet Muhammad? You see how foolish it is for them to live a religion of, I want to be like Prophet Muhammad, without going to the one alone that knew and know Prophet Muhammad. The one that gave Prophet Muhammad his character, his personality, his language, his mindset, his life, his breath, his essence. The one that knew exactly what Prophet Muhammad was, because it created him and sustained him. That's the one they got to go to, but they don't do that. They say, I want to be like Prophet Muhammad. Then they go to a book of scholars. Then they go to pictures. They go to different things, and they say, well, this is Prophet Muhammad. They go to niggas walking down the street. Yeah, I said niggas walking down the street with painted beards. And they said, well, this is the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad. He had a painted beard like this, or his beard was orange or red or whatever. Can you imagine Prophet Muhammad taking up time painting his beard? I hear Prophet Muhammad said, don't even mess with mirrors, so much so.
Right.
So where was he at painting his beard?
So the depiction without even the spirit. Lord, to our audience, we're going to have to go ahead and retrieve ourselves from our half-hour audience, but we expect that audience in Brooklyn to return to us the next time when we come on in the week in their schedule, whatever their schedule is. So may I use peace and
Who
blessing be
of
within
you
about your presence.
want to do
and to the
things
rest of our
right?
audience, we'll continue
To
with our
keep up with
discussion.
keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things